Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment or medications if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here. Visit bewelltexas.org.
Hello and welcome to another live episode of March to the Pod, a show where the producer is getting nudged by his PTSD anxiety dog. What does that tell you is happening? That means it's Thanksgiving Eve, Ben. That's what it means. Welcome in. Today, Season 2, Episode 17. We're going to feast on the flames this week, guys. We got to get some feasting going. We're going to recap the Cats' Gravy Bowl loss to Jacksonville State, check in on women's basketball team putting up some of the best numbers in the country, give a preview of the men's basketball tournament this week where right now they are up 33-30 at the half on Appalachian State. And then you have we're also going to preview their game against Indiana on Tuesday, and then we're going to get into the Cats game on Friday against Liberty, and we have a special guest joining us from Fan the Flames podcast who will join us and help with predictions and previews. So that should be fun, Ben.
Yeah, it's a loaded episode, and like you said, it's time to feast.
Time to feast. I'm your host and producer, Corey Hogue, the non-FBS insider at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Find me on your favorite social media channels at Corey Hogue Sports. It's all one word, CORYHOGUE Sports. The knowledge of this show is provided by the creator and manager of Sports of SHSU. Again, that's all one word on Twitter and Instagram. Chief Operating Officer of the Cat Fund and a proud Bearcat alum, Ben Sorrells. And Ben, we have a lot to get to today, and we got a basketball game going on right now. So before we get started into too much of this, let's tell our listeners about our friends over at Eternal Roofing. Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com. Huge thank you to our friends at Eternal Roofing. We are proud to have them as our presenting sponsor. Probably more proud to have them than they are to be the presenting sponsor, to be honest with you, Ben.
They're sticking around with us somehow.
They are. Not exactly sure why, but hey, we're not going to tell them not to. What we are going to do is we're going to get into the Gravy Bowl. And this might not take very long to recap, but then again, it might take a little longer than you would think with a victory. Opened up 3 and out for the Cats. Jacksonville State marched 75 yards, 14 plays, 5:15 off the clock. Opening drive took a 7-0 lead, and at that point you thought, uh-oh, could be one of those days. Christian Pavon got the Cats on the board with a 34-yard field goal. Tyler Huff, 3 touchdowns on the day. The guy's outstanding as a quarterback. He had a 38-yard touchdown to give those ass-kicking chickens a 14-3 lead at halftime. Sam went on a really good drive of their own. This game was marked with a lot of drives here. They went on a lot of drives of their own. Third quarter, 12th play, 78 yards. It took 6:37 off the clock, and then it did when Hunter Watson found the end zone from 21 yards out.
Team is eliminated with a loss, but a win goes a long way. Watson, wide open hole, skips over to the defender. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Sam Houston with the touchdown, 21 yards on the keeper for Hunter Watson.
Said he lift weights with the linebackers in the weight room. He's a strong runner. Get off of me, and he finishes. That drive started.
You know, I got to give the announcing crew credit there. Those guys had their lines ready for these quarterbacks.
Yeah, he had been waiting on that one all week, hadn't he? Finally got it out about halfway through the third.
Did you hear what he had for Huff?
Maybe, I don't know.
He had a huff and puff and blow your house down.
Oh, hey, at least they got that right. I think it was Logan Ryan was calling Coach Keeler Coach Wheeler for an entire quarter, and you had to tweet at him.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how I was being driven nuts by hearing.
Oh my gosh, me too.
And I was like, this is ridiculous. But anyway, let's get back to this wonderful touchdown run here by Hunter Watson. And you know, it's a little jet sweep fake.
Wait, did you see what they did on that play? Just what we were talking about before the show.
The play action?
The jet sweep with Noah.
Yeah.
When we use it, it works. I know people dog on Brad Cornelson for using the jet sweep too much, but it feels like we have not used it at all in the past month. And it really helps us. I mean, even if Noah's not touching the ball, he's carrying a defender to that weak side, and Hunter's got a lane.
Oh, Ben, I'm about to show you something. As you said that, I was pausing and went back a little there. He doesn't carry one defender. Watch what Noah attracts when he comes across this. Right as soon as he's coming across, first off, the entire defense is coming to the direction of the wide side of the field, which sets up the fake right there. And, of course, Hunter can see that as well. But as he comes across here, you've got two. You have a linebacker and a safety focused on him to try to stop him because they know one man don't do it, right? And then Hunter Watson just goes and makes a nice move, gets into the end zone. And I'm with you there. You know, that play is set. You talk about a jet sweep. The reason why you run it so often is you've got to be able to run the fakes off of it. And when you can do that, you see it right there. What the defensive line just flowed to the right as he faked that ball to Noah. Everything except number 16. And he had an offensive tackle sitting there waiting on him.
Yeah, and even if there is one linebacker there on the second level, and even if Hunter doesn't run him over, it's still a first down. Or not run him over, but run by him. It's still a first.
And let's look at that too, Ben, because I want number 6 right there. Look which way he's running right now.
Yeah, he's going towards Noah.
Exactly, right? And so when he plants right there, that's what helped Hunter make that move and get by him. It all starts with the threat of Noah on that, and that's why that jet sweep is run so often, because it allows you to do this stuff.
Yeah, especially with a guy like Noah who can take the jet sweep and run it, or you could use him in the passing game, throw it out to him, or just use him as a decoy. Another thing I've seen them do early in the season is they just run Noah or a guy through by Hunter, and they don't snap it, but they can see the defense and maybe the guy that is following that guy and pick up on what the defensive scheme is. So even if they just maybe go to a hard count and have the guy run through on the jet sweep motion, you can kind of pick up on what the defense is doing. So I think you've really got to start implementing it more.
I am a big fan of play action and pre-snap motion.
Yep.
I think when I see offenses that work, and I talk to people with offenses that work, and so on and so forth, it's because play action works, and so does pre-snap motion. Yep. And so those two things are just it tells you what a defense is going to do. It gives an offense an advantage at that point.
Yeah, I remember I think it was the Saints. They were one of the worst offenses in the league last year. Not very good right now, but at the beginning of the year, I think they used more motion than anybody, and they were the best offense in the NFL for the first month, and they went from no pre-snap motion to the most pre-snap motion, and they were the best offense for the first month, just because teams didn't know how to adjust to it really. And I mean, the Dolphins in the NFL, I think, run pre-snap motion 70-80% of the time, and when they're healthy, one of the best offenses in the NFL. I mean, it's proven at really every level. If you use motion in the pre-snap, I mean, it definitely has its benefits.
The best offensive minds in football. And by that, I do mean also a Mike McDaniel. He is one of the best offensive minds. That dude is just a genius when it comes to drawing up plays. But it's not just him. The ones, I put out a story today, Texas Wesleyan, 59.9 points per game is what their offense is averaging. And it's not just one season. Like, that offensive coordinator in his 4 years has averaged at minimum 42 points a game.
That's probably using some motion.
Yes. I mean, it's incredible what coordinators can do when they use a lot of that. And a lot of those coordinators, you watch what they do. You watch the Dolphins, you watch these teams that are successful on offense. It's that pre-snap motion and it's play action. The pre-snap motion tells you what coverage they're in. The play action, especially on a pass, keeps those linebackers honest.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying. Even if you don't snap the ball and you just run the guy through on that jet sweep motion, you can still pick up on what the defense might be doing. So, I mean, and I think, and I mentioned this off air too, I think part of maybe why you got away from it is because Noah Smith was out for about 2.5 weeks. But you got to get back to what your identity was and what was working early in the year, which I think was you got to put Noah Smith in motion. You've got to try to push the ball down the field, at least try to. Even if it doesn't work, you just got to have the defense respect it.
So the Cats scored the touchdown. They went for 2. Hunter Watson does.
Love Sam Houston's creative play calling. Let's see what they got drawn up.
Watson steps back. Watson looking for a crease. Watson able to skip in. Trims the lead to just 3. And we've got ourselves a ball game brewing in Jacksonville, Alabama.
and this one here, this play just shows what makes Hunter Watson so special as a runner. As he takes off, of course, look, it was a zone, right? He dropped back and he saw 8 guys go into a zone. He knew, all right, it's on my legs. He comes up there. He's got 2 defenders as he gets to the 3-yard line. 2 defenders honing in on him, and he just does a little sidestep to the left, lets them run into each other while he hits the end zone.
Yeah, and I think this is some of what Casey Keeler talked about in last week's press conference about Watson needing to be more decisive. And I think especially with his legs, sometimes he just needs to tuck it and run just because he is the best runner on the field and one of the biggest guys on the field too. I mean, at 6'4", 220. So, I mean, it was good to see some of that from Hunter. It wasn't exactly what we saw against maybe Texas State or Rice earlier this year, but I definitely think it was a step in the right direction on Saturday.
Yeah, and when you look at when he hits his plant foot on his drop, you can only see half the field, but on that half the field, you have 4 defenders and 2 receivers.
Yeah. There's nothing doing.
You're not going to get anything on that. Good decision by Hunter, and that brought the Cats within 3, and then they get the ball back because they end up on the 14-yard line of Jacksonville State because they recover this punt. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute.
Has not had a lot of clean punts in this game. Bit of a line drive. It's going to be an opportunity for Rudolph to dance around, and you see a little bit of basketball defense just to slow him down. Ball might have came out. Sam Houston has forced a turnover as Rudolph coughs it up. And the 2 teams that were tied for first in the conference for takeaways, Sam Houston now number 1 after that.
All right, well, I'm guessing, I'm going to go ahead and guess here, Ben, that they did review that to make sure that was a fumble.
They did. They did make sure it was a fumble, and I thought it might have been a targeting, but he kind of just, I think, hit him in the back of his shoulder pads with his helmet, and the helmet went flying. But I think it was a great job by Zach Herbachik. The punt was a pretty good one down to about the 10-yard line, and he just kind of kept him in front and allowed 4 or 5 other guys to rally to the ball. And so it was a great job by Zach to just kind of keep him where he was and then let everybody come in there at once.
This is my favorite part right here. Number 2 holds up that dude's helmet like, hey, you're going to want this.
Yeah, I know, right? And nobody was taking it. I think one of the Jax State ball boys on that side ended up taking it eventually or something.
Oh yeah, like he turns around, a coach is like, hey, give it here, right? But watch when this guy hits the field, his helmet falls off. He gets up, he's like, the hell it is, I'm out.
Yeah, he didn't even. I don't know. He got rocked. He might not have even realized he did lose it.
He did get rocked. He definitely did. But unfortunately for the Cats, that drive went nowhere. Minus 6 yards, and then a missed 27-yard field goal attempt by Christian Pavon. And that was the beginning of some more heartbreak that was coming the Cats' way, because Huff had his third touchdown run of the game with about 11 and a half minutes remaining in regulation, capped off a 14-play, 80-yard drive that took another 6 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. That drive was aided near the end by a half the distance to the goal penalty on an unnecessary roughness call on Richard Outland. And I'm just adding it here, we're not going to listen to it, but I do want to give credit here to Sam Houston Sports Talk for the video. And they have this video here. When you see what happened here, you've got two guys who look, Outland gets locked up with number 54. Their helmets are stuck together right there. Like those two right now are in panic mode because they realize their helmets are stuck together. So like 54 is like, oh heck, take my helmet, right? And
he just took it off.
Yeah, and he's like, take my helmet. And the guy's like, wait, and then they throw a flag on him. And by no means was there any unnecessary, but I can also understand if an official's eyes are not on the play and all you see is a guy's helmet come flying off, you're probably throwing a flag.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to. There's 8 officials on the field. You really got to hope that one of them saw it. I mean,
well, you also got to be able to replay things like that too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was just really frustrating. It was 14-11 with, I think you said, like 11 minutes left in the game. And if that play just is as stands as it is, I mean, it's 3rd and 11 from the 19-yard line, force them into a field goal, most likely. It's 17-11, still a one-possession game. And it just really changed the dynamic of the entire game, it felt like. Because they scored 2 plays later. They were at the 9-yard line. It was just kind of a back-breaking call. We got to be better to win, but that call did not help.
Yes, that call did not help, and it's the call did not cost the Cats the game. If you want to get into what cost the Cats the game, it's called a no offense. However, that offense that we said has been a lot of non-existent here lately. They did produce a 14-play 50-yard drive. Took 5:43 to go those 50 yards, and then ended up with another 42-yard missed field goal. And at that point, Jacksonville State won 21-11. This was Casey Keeler's thoughts post-game, courtesy of the Bearcat Sports Network.
Their own destiny, and that's all you can ever ask for. And so disappointing because I thought we did some good things on defense. We obviously missed a couple field goals, so our special teams were sort of hit and miss a little bit. We got a fumble recovery on a muff punt, and offensively we're just kind of up and down, and we just got to get 10 back up and running. And I thought he did some better things. I thought he played a little bit more decisive, but you can still see the rust. And what people don't realize is, he gets concussed in the Western Kentucky game, misses a half. And then misses the whole game the next week, and then takes a shot in that La Tech game. I mean, he takes a shot and misses the next 14 days. Didn't even practice. And then we get him back for 4 days of practice before we play Kennesaw. And again, working through some things. At times he did good, sometimes. And so just, playing against a good defense, just we didn't capitalize with our opportunities. We had the ball inside the 30 a number of times and didn't get points. So that was really disappointing because, I say this all the time to our guys. We're the best team in this league when we play clean. And offensively, we had played really pretty good football minus the Central Florida game, up through to where we got Hunter injured in that Western Kentucky game. And now it just seems like we're not back on track yet, and we got to get back on track. So, like I said, we're playing championship defense. Special teams has been, one of those hit or misses, and offensively, we're not where we were early in the season. With all that said, we still had a chance to win that football game, and we didn't, which is disappointing.
It is disappointing. There's so much to break down there, but I think the most important part is this offense. It was rolling until Hunter Watson left against Western Kentucky. They have scored starting with that Western Kentucky game. So he had the first 2 touchdown passes there. So you take those 14 points away. They've had 53 points in their last 4 games.
Yep.
That is not going to – this defense is outstanding. The defense is putting in a ton of work. This offense, I don't know where it was. I don't think Keeler can tell you right now. Like, he's searching too, because we were looking at grades before the show, and Hunter's grade – it's not Hunter individually, right? Like, his grades are fine. Is it some of this jet sweep, or what do you think it is?
I think it's a little bit of everything. The in and out at the quarterback position between Hunter and Jace, the play calling getting very conservative for about 2 weeks when Jace was in there. And then you got to kind of flip back to not being conservative. Noah Smith being out for about 2.5 weeks. The opponents you're playing with Western Kentucky and Jax State. And the Louisiana Tech defense is legit. So 3 of the 4 defenses you've played are pretty good. I think it's just a combination of a little bit of everything, but you've got to figure it out if you want to go have a chance to go play at the national or in the conference title game. So we'll see if they can kind of fire on all cylinders. We've seen flashes of it. I mean, even against Jax State, there were a handful of drives where, they were 40, 50 yards down the field and miss a field goal, can't convert on 4th down. It just feels like you're one play away on every drive. You've got to find a way to make it click. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, Jason Plotkin says, happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Thanks for being more accessible than Flow Sports. Jason, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. And seriously, I think today more than ever, we need to tell everyone listening, watching, that have a happy Thanksgiving. And part of my Thanksgiving is being thankful for everyone that watches this. This is a heck of a fun job. And a heck of a fun thing that I get to do. And I'm so appreciative of every listener and of you, Ben, for just being on here each week and bringing that knowledge, man, because we don't have a ton of it otherwise.
I don't know. Don't see my praises.
How it goes, man.
Yeah.
We are a podcast on the Republic of Football Network and an extension of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Follow us on the various social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at March to the Pod. It's all one word, March the number 2 the Pod, or you can find us on Threads at the March to the Pod with the number 2. Before we get into the second leg, let's hear some more about our friends over at Eternal Roofing. Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com. All right. Once again, we're very thankful for our friends over at Eternal Roofing. Quick update from the basketball game with 13-13 to go in the second half. Sam Houston with a 44-43 lead over App State. That is a fun one. Wish it was on something other than Flow Sports, but hey, we don't always get to pick that stuff. Ben, this women's basketball team, before we get talking more about the men here in a second, let's talk about this women's basketball team. They put a few things out on Twitter, and we're going to show these up here if you're watching with us. Top 5 turnovers forced per game, top 10. This is in the nation, top 20. This has been quite an improvement under Raven Justice in her second season.
Yeah, well, second season in Conference USA. Yeah, it's
Yes.
been a night and day difference from last year. And she said at the Conference USA Media Day that they didn't even really focus at all on offense until about 4 to 6 weeks before the season. And it's showing up in these numbers. The defensive intensity and the way they're playing on defense has just been unbelievable. Even I know they've played 2 non-D1 teams as well as a team from the SWAC, but they've also played Kansas, and I'm blanking on the other opponent. And every single opponent, I think, has had 25 or more turnovers against Sam Houston this year. So, I mean, the defensive intensity has just been so much fun to watch. A lot of new names in the fold that we're still learning more about, like Deborah Oguyemi. Asia Ward-Strong is another one that I'll hit on in a minute. But, yeah, this team is much improved, and it's been a lot of fun to watch so far.
Yeah, now this second stat here, I don't know how that would. Top 10 offensive rebounds per game for Deborah Oguyemi. I get that one makes sense. Top 10 in double doubles per game. I think it's not that it's wrong. It's worded weird.
Right. I get it, but it's odd.
Yeah, and she's not the only one. I mean, talk about these 2 young ladies for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I want to hit on Asia Ward. I mentioned her at the beginning of the season as someone that's going to be the best athlete on the floor. She ran track at Alabama before coming to Sam Houston. So obviously very athletic, but she's done a little bit of everything. So 14 points per game, 3 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game. And then I think it's 4 steals per game, which is top 5 in the country. And so she's just been doing a little bit of everything, and it's been really fun to watch so far this year.
Well, and when you have 2 players in the top 20 in the nation in steals per game, your defense is doing pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And it's not just from like a turnovers forced and a steals perspective. It's, I mean, they're not giving up a lot of points either. I mean, they have just been really good. I'm excited to see what they look like against a Conference USA team. Seattle, who they beat, that was the team I was missing. Seattle's not that great. Arkansas Pine Bluff isn't that great. They looked pretty competitive against Kansas, who pushed Iowa last week. But I'd like to see how this defense looks against the Conference USA team. I think it'll hold up pretty well.
And let's move on to the men's game. And you can see right there, I cannot legally show you due to media agreement that made with Flow Sports. I cannot legally show you the live stream of the game for longer than like 60-second clips. So I could show you the live stat feed. App State at 47-44 with the under 12 media timeout right now. And Ben, we're going to keep that up so that if you're watching along, you can at least see it while we're talking about this part, while we're talking about the men's basketball team here. They are currently at the Live Oak Bank Holiday Classic in they're in gorgeous Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm going to tell you, the Mrs. Hogue, the brains, the boss, any other B word? Nope. No, Corey, do not. No. Any other nice B word that you want to say? She is that to the family. Boss. We'll stick with boss. Anyhow, she's a chaplain. That's what I'm telling you. She really is nice. Like you don't get mean chaplains usually, but she was doing her internship as a chaplain at a hospital there in Wilmington, North Carolina, when we were engaged and getting together and all that good stuff. So I flew out there quite often because let's face it, man, that beach, that place, that was so much fun out there in Wilmington.
Yeah, and it looks like the team is staying at a hotel right on the beach. I've been seeing some of the pictures they posted on Instagram, some of the players and coaches. So looks like they're in a pretty good spot there, and hopefully the team can get in a little bit better of a spot to position themselves for a win here.
Yeah, they're playing App State right now. They have North Carolina, Wilmington at 3:00 on Friday, and then they close out with Colgate at 11 a.m. on Saturday. But then they stay on the road, and they head to Bloomington, Indiana, where they're going to take on the Hoosiers.
I'll be there courtside.
And Ben will be there courtside. Check him out. Sports of SHSU, all one word. Make sure you're following. He's going to have courtside updates and photos and everything else from there. It's going to be awesome. But I want to ask you, before you preview the Indiana game, get into the Hoosiers game a little bit, I want to ask you, this trip right here where they are away for Thanksgiving, and as someone who was in the military and spent Thanksgivings overseas and away from family, I understand that it is times like these that a team can really bond and gel kind of together when they are their only people to rely on tomorrow for their Thanksgiving, right? Like,
yeah.
And that can bring a team closer together. And I know Coach Mudge is outstanding when it comes to thinking about those things.
Yeah, great team builder, great builder of culture. So I'm sure it'll be a fun time out there in Wilmington, and a little bit of basketball, a little bit of feasting, a little bit of everything.
Well, tell us what to expect when they play the Hoosiers on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a team that's extremely talented. They were top 15 in the country coming into this year. I think they're still number 14. They won't be there for much longer. They lost by 35 to Louisville today. Louisville's good, but they're definitely still rebuilding after a disastrous last two seasons. Mike Woodson has not really shown he can coach at a very high level. At the college ranks, was pretty good in the NBA with the Hawks, but hasn't really shown it at the NCAA level yet. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. I think they have a chance if they can play well. Obviously, playing at Assembly Hall is going to be a tall task, one of the most historic arenas in the country. But I think if you play well, you never know what you can get against an Indiana team that does not look to be very good right now. So it'll be interesting. I think maybe some of it depends on how they play these next 3 days. They'll learn a lot about themselves, but excited to see what they do at Indiana.
Could be a resume builder.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Could be. And so that's a big one. You know, this is my favorite time of year for basketball. And this in March Madness, outside of March Madness, this week, the Maui tournament, always one of my favorites. The battle for Atlantis. I mean, last night out in Las Vegas, you had Duke, Kansas. You've seen, UConn and Bobby, and well, not Bobby, but Dan Hurley. One of the Hurleys, they should get more technicals than they do every game. You know, it's just a fun time to watch basketball, and it's everywhere, man. The games are so good.
Yeah, and then you've got the Players Tournament out there in Vegas too. They're all playing for $1 million. Alabama, Houston was good last night. There's some other really good teams in that tournament. So, I mean, Feast Week is a lot of fun.
It is 49-46 App State. And one thing I noticed here, they're in the bonus already with 10:08 to go in the game. That's not a good sign. You do not want to be in the bonus at that point.
The officiating's been terrible. It's 17-7 on the foul count. I think they've taken 10 more free throws. It has not been very good as far as the whistle goes.
Well, before we go any further, Miss Jason has something else to say here. Jason Plotkin says, Coach Justice has a favorable schedule. McMurray, UTSA, Southern Utah, Houston Christian. Could be 8-2 going into league play. Jason, favorable, yes. We will definitely find out in league play. But right now, you've got to teach. Sometimes winning is the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can get it done. And those are the kind of games I was talking about, seeing how they'll do against teams they should beat, maybe teams that are kind of on par with the caliber they are. So we'll see. Excited to see what that defense can do. Defense travels.
It does travel. And, hey, if you want to know how to help support these athletes and maybe help them stick around Sam Houston a little longer, my man Ben here has got something to tell you about it.
Yeah, cat-fund.com. You can sign up and join the Cat Fund NIL Collective for as little as $10 a month. We actually do have some exciting autographed memorabilia coming up. We've got some kind of an inventory. We've got more coming up, so be on the lookout for that. Maybe with the holiday season coming up, we might have some raffles or giveaways. So want to sign up, like you said, at cat-fund.com. Become a member as little as $10 a month, up to about $1,000 a month. You get access to exclusive content, Cat Fun merch like stickers, stickers, T-shirts, hats, all that different kind of stuff. So all the money goes back to the athletes, and definitely want to sign up and become a member.
Like the hat you're wearing right now?
Yeah, that was something that was open to everybody, but Cat Fund members got a discount. And the last round of shipments, everybody should have gotten their hats either today or Friday. So check your mail if you haven't gotten yours just yet. Should be there today, and if not today, should be there Friday. So everybody should have their hats squared away.
Awesome. cat-fund.com. Help out the athletes. And before we get any further into the preview here, where we bring in our very special guest, let's hear from our friends over at Eternal Roofing once more. Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home." Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com. And again, very big thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. And Jeremiah, if you can hear me, go ahead and connect. See him backstage. We're going to get our special guest in here, hopefully from the Fan the Flames podcast. But Ben, Friday, November 29th, 2:30 p.m. inside Bauer Stadium, one of the biggest games in program history. It truly is. The game's going to be broadcast, CBS Sports Network, and you can listen to the game on the Bearcat Sports Network. Jeremiah, he is the man. This guy's joining us from the Fan the Flames podcast, which is also part of the CUSA Roundtable. Jeremiah, thank you so much, man, for jumping on here with us.
Thank you guys for having me. Y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we hear you, man.
Had a few technical difficulties. I can't really get my camera to go, so I apologize for that.
Oh, no worries. No worries at all.
Corey will bring the good looks. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if y'all want to see this face.
No, first off, I have to put on a funny hat to distract people from the face. That's pretty much how it works.
Gotcha.
You gotta love it. Corn dogs.
Teddy corn dogs, man, with a cowboy hat. It's the best.
I love it.
Hey, Bearcat Sports Network had Keeler's thoughts on the game this week. So before we go any further, let's hear what Coach Keeler thinks about this matchup.
In terms of Liberty, the quarterback makes them tick. I mean, and they're gonna all bets are off. Don't be surprised if he runs the ball a lot. You can't run a quarterback like him all season long 30 times, but you can pick your spots. Don't be surprised if the ball's in his hand a lot this weekend. It's a playoff game. It's a do or die game, and he's really good. And so their running backs are really good. They have a good solid offensive line, and they have some weapons on the outside. So, looking forward to national television. It's a Black Friday game, and we get a chance to see if we can get back in this thing. So,
Jeremiah, I want to know your thoughts on what he said there.
I love it. I love the remarks he made. I have a lot of respect for Coach Keeler and that program you guys have, and I think that that segment right there shows that he has a mutual respect for our program as well. He mentioned Caden Salter, and he mentioned our running backs. We have Quentin Cooley, Billy Lucas. We've got Vaughn Blue. We've got a whole stable of guys in the backfield who can really move the ball. They went for over 400 yards last week. Don't think we're going to be able to do that quite that much this week, but we'll see. I think we'll have a pretty good game there with those guys.
Having that rushing attack is going to be very important because this defense, like you said, is pretty good. We're going to go into right now. We're going to look at Liberty's defense and Sam Houston's offense. Ben, this offense has been struggling. You see there, if you're watching on live on Twitter, Facebook, you could see kind of the lineup. What say you about this offense, Ben? What are we going to see from it against Liberty?
I mean, you just have to hope. We hit on it towards the beginning, but you just got to hope it starts to fire on all cylinders. Got to get the receivers more involved. I think you got to try to get Quavez Humphreys and Ife Day. You got to try to push the ball up the field some. Got to use that jet sweep motion. It's a pretty good Liberty defense. I mean, I know they're a little thinner at the DB position, and Jeremiah can probably talk a little bit about that. I know they've had some injuries there, but would like to see us push the ball downfield. And you just got to hope for some more success. It feels like if the offense can score 21 to 24 points, we've got a real shot to win this game. But I think that's what they've got to do, and we'll see if they can do it.
Well, Jeremiah, he talks about going down the field. They're going to have to, because the front seven of Liberty is extremely solid.
Oh, yeah. We've got a really good front D line there. We got a couple guys like CJ Bazile. We got TJ Bush that they can get in the backfield and make some big plays in the backfield and stop the run. We got some great linebackers. Jerome Jolly is one of those guys. And then, we got a few other guys. I won't touch on them all, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what they can do to disrupt this offense, to be honest.
What does the defensive backfield injury status look like?
So I'm not going to lie. Ben is more of our injury guru, I guess you would say. I'm kind of up to date with him. We've had a ton of injuries, like both sides of the ball all year long, so it's been kind of hard to keep up with them all. To my knowledge, though, I think Bodner is our only guy. He's a safety. I think he's the only guy that's going to be out, if I'm not mistaken. We were missing Quentin Reese last game, but he told me personally that he should be back for this game. So I'm high hopes that he'll be back for this one. But I think Bodner's the only guy really in that backfield that's going to be missing.
Yeah, and that's important because, like Ben said, pushing the ball down the field will probably be a focus this week. And so it's a pretty good wide receiver core. You're going to want your most experienced D-backs over there. Now, when they flip sides of the ball, Jeremiah, tell us about this Liberty offense. I know Coach Keeler talked about it there, and you hit on it a little bit, but you got a quarterback, you got plenty of offensive linemen, but, man, you got weapons outside and a very good offensive line.
Oh, yeah, we've got a stacked team. The only thing is you've seen throughout the season we haven't been healthy, unfortunately. I think this is the healthiest that we have been. That last game was really good. We had pretty much everyone back. That offensive line has been pretty banged up all season. We've had guys playing out of position, out of rotation, whatever it may be. So we kind of saw a little bit of holes earlier in the season, and it made Caden's life a little rougher. But they had a really good game last week, and I think everything's coming together really well. Same with our wide receiving core. Been banged up all season long. Like Juju Gray, he's a huge playmaker for our offense, but he's missed a lot of the season. We have Reese Smith, who he had those 3 touchdown catches against ECU, and then he went on to miss a few games after that. So, I mean, it just depends on everyone's healthy and ready to go, which I believe they are, because we've got a lot of playmakers.
That is outstanding insight. So here's where we get to the fun part of this. We have lines provided by PFF.com. Everything that you saw there, if you were watching the offense, the defense, projected lineups, all come from PFF.com, and that was their grades. The spread has it Liberty -3 and an over-under of 47.5. Now, we're going to go back for just a second and let you know that last week Ben said the Cats would win 23-20. Ben was wrong. He is now 5-6 versus the spread, but he was right on the over/under, so he moved to 6-5 on the year on the over/under. I can say that because I think this is the first time this year I got both right. I had Jax State winning 31-21. I had the point differential. I didn't have the amount of points right. I'm now 3-8. That is impressive against the spread. 4-7 in the over/under. So with that in mind, Jeremiah, you might not want to put any money on what I have to say today.
Nah, I'm not much of a betting guy myself. I'm not a huge spreads money line guy, but I got some information here I'm ready to share.
Oh, what you got?
So spread, you said -3 our way. I think it's funny because again, I don't know the ins and outs of the spread and all that very well, but I think it's funny the spread's -3 that has you guys. ESPN has you guys with a 57% chance of winning this game. Obviously, home field advantage is going to be big for you guys. As far as the over/under, you said it's 47.5. I'm going to hammer the over, I think, on this one.
We will get into that. I will get you had zero preparation for this, but we will get your score prediction here.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too far.
And so that the score prediction will do it. But Vegas says with that 47.5, Vegas says Liberty wins 25.25 to 22.25. So 25-22, basically. Jeremiah, you are our guest. We will let you go first. You already said you're hammering the over. How big are you going to hammer that over?
No, I'm not going to hammer it too hard. I think with my score prediction, it's going to be 2 or 3 over the over. I think I'm going to pick a 27-23 ball game.
27-23 Liberty win.
Yes.
So you've got Liberty to cover and a little bit on the over.
Correct.
All right. I like that. So, Ben, what say you?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar with the score. I'm going to go slightly under. I saw a stat today. I think you might have put it on our show notes. I think the Sam Houston scores have gone under the past 5 weeks. So I'm just going to keep hammering what's been working. But I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to say it's a 24-23 Sam Houston victory. I know, shout out to my guy Ronnie. He said for 2 or 3 weeks now to beat Jacksonville State and Liberty, we got to score 24 points. And so I think we're going to score 24 points, and it's going to be just enough to win. And that'll put it just under the over-under. So I'll stay with the under, and I'm going to say 24-23 Sam Houston. I don't see either team really getting to 30-plus points with how good our defense has been, with the offense not kind of firing on all cylinders. So I think the game kind of lives somewhere in the mid-20s.
Well, I, for one, appreciate you guys letting me be the tiebreaker. I just want to say that I get to be the bad guy either way on this one. Ben, you said it. Last 5 games for the Cats have been under. Also, they've lost their last 5 games against the spread. Liberty is averaging 31 points per game in their last 5, and they're allowing 22 in Conference USA. That is on an average, and this Sam Houston offense has not been average. We talked about it. 53 points since Hunter Watson went out at halftime against Western Kentucky. That was 4.5 games ago. So I'm going Liberty. I'm going 21-13. It's going to go under. It's going to be because see, here's what Keeler's going to do. He's going to try to muck it up. And I think you're going to get those long drives like we saw last week with Jax State. And I think Liberty's going to they're going to run that ball. They run the ball a ton because they're good at it. That's also going to burn that clock. We're going to see some longer drives. I think the under is a pretty good play, and I think Liberty wins this one 21-13. All right, guys, go ahead. Beat me up.
Well, I don't disagree with you on what the score might be. I just hope our offense can kind of start to click. That's what it comes down to.
What you think, Jerry?
I mean, I love it. I love the bet. I appreciate it. I love the confidence. I'm pretty confident too. Obviously, like I said, we've had a lot of ups and downs this season, and we've fought really hard to get back into the position that we're in now to be able to possibly play for a conference championship still. With what I've seen the last couple of games, though, like I'm excited, especially this last game against Western Kentucky. Like Western Kentucky's a great team, and they're a tough team to go out and play against. But just from what I saw, the team really gelled this past week. Everybody coming back together, and I think we're going to pull off a pretty good win. I'm definitely not going to take you guys lightly. I'm not going to put you guys too far out. I don't want to
No,
jinxes or anything.
it's going to be close, man. It's going to be close.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's a dogfight. I'm looking forward to a dogfight too.
It's going to come down to one drive, and I think all three of us have it predicted that way here.
Right.
It's all within one score for all three of us. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm glad Jeremiah brought up the injuries too. I was reading an article from, I think it was a Sea of Red, who does some good media stuff for Liberty. They were just so beat up towards the beginning of this year, and I like you said, I don't think they're fully healthy, but they're a lot more healthy than they were, and I think that's why they're starting to click a little better than they were towards the beginning of the year. So it's going to be a really fun game.
It will be. Jeremiah, thank you so much for joining us and bringing on the knowledge. We greatly appreciate it, my man. And Ben, thank you so much for bringing your knowledge to this show. Because again, without the knowledge, I'm just sitting here talking about nothing that I know anything about. Also, quick update before we go. Sam Houston with a 57-55 lead with 4:14 left to go in the second half. This is Ben, I want to talk real quick. This is a really good showing against a good team.
It is, yeah, and this is the first time you've been healthy since Nevada. I mean, obviously minus Damon Nicholas, who's out for the year, but this is the healthiest you're probably going to get all year. You're 10 deep now, back to your 10 rotation guys, and so starting to get guys back in the mix. The whistle has not been favorable whatsoever so far today. I mean, it's not an excuse, but the foul count has just been a little ridiculous for the most. It's 18-12 now. I think it was a 10-12 foul count difference. So it's good to see.
Ben, complaining about the refereeing is like eating turkey on Thanksgiving. It's dry, man.
Well, and I was going to say, App State's a good team. I think they were picked 5th in the Sun Belt this year, but they won the regular season title last year. And they're a good team. So, I mean, if you can go to a neutral site and win this game, you got to feel pretty good about how this team's looking.
Well, one of these years, we will get into why I am not a fan of turkey on Thanksgiving. I love everything else about Thanksgiving that's not sweet potatoes also. But no turkey, no sweet potatoes. Everything else is wonderful. One of these years, we'll get into all that. But until then, we want to wish everyone watching and listening a very happy Thanksgiving. Be safe on the roads and in your travels this weekend. Join us back here next Wednesday live at 4 o'clock as we will keep going and talk about this Cats game against Liberty, and then we'll look into a bowl game. We'll know bowl games by that point, and then again, watch Ben Tuesday in Bloomington when they play Indiana. Till next time, Ben, we got a lot of winning that needs to go out on the Cat side, so take us out with something good.
Yeah, eat them up, Cats, and let's feast on the Flames on Friday.
Feast on some dry turkey.